O Lord of light, who made the stars, O down by whom we see the way, O Christ, Redeemer of us all, make haste to listen as we pray. In lowliness you can.
Hello, and welcome to Moments with the Master. I am here to talk about the readings for the fifth Sunday of Easter, but before I begin, I received this from Father Sean. It's a St. Dismas chaplet, but this one is unique because I sent this to him. This is a crucifix that was made out of probably dyed, like trash bags dyed with crayons by prisoners in North Carolina, and they turned that into a crucifix. So I asked Father Sean if he would make Saint Dismas, who was a prisoner, thief. So this is him. This is Dismas. And then I talked about the chaplet the other day and how it works. Anyway, very excited to start using that. Okay, the readings for the fifth Sunday. I'm freaking white, by the way. Are Acts chapter 6, verses 1 through 7, Psalm 33, verses 1 through 5, 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 4 through 9, and John 14, verses 1 through 12. So, the Acts verse, that's about when the Greeks were upset because everybody was selling all that they had and giving it to the apostles, but it was not being equally divided among the Jews and the Greeks. And so they established the deacons in order to make sure that everything was being given to everyone as they had need. And actually, in this passage, the Greeks are called Hellenists, and it's because they went to the apostles and they said, "What the hell?" And that's why they're called Hellenists. Look up the etymology. That's totally what happened. The psalm is a good one. I don't know any songs or anything that were made from it. Father Josh talked about 1 Peter earlier in the week. So I'm going to read the gospel. Jesus said, "Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again, and I will take you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And you know the way where I am going." Thomas, of course it's Thomas. Thomas said to him, "Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" And Jesus said to him, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. Henceforth you know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father, and we shall be satisfied." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you so long, and yet you do not know me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show me the Father'? Do you not believe that I am the Father and the Father in me? I am in the Father and the Father in me. The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his works." I said that right, didn't I? Yes, does his works. "Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I go to the Father. Whatever you ask in his name, I will do it, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you do anything in my name, I will do it." So I think that for a lot of people, their favorite part about this is that we will do greater works than Jesus, and that anything that we ask in his name, he will do it. That's at least a lot of Christians that I grew up with. It had a lot to do with the whole gilded gospel, name it and claim it type stuff. a lot of people like to talk about Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life. Um, the I wonder what it was like for the apostles to hear him say, "If you have seen me, you have seen the Father," because that I am in him and he is in me. I wonder for them if that was like problematic, if any of them had a hard time hearing that and thinking of the implications, because that had to have been, I don't think that they were thinking of Jesus in that way at that time, that they were thinking of him as God. I definitely don't think that. And so it might have been difficult for them to have heard those words and to have come to that realization. But for this whole section, the part that gets me, well, okay. In my father's house, there are many rooms. So Father Josh was saying that a lot of translations say that there are many mansions and that we each get our own mansion, and that's not a correct translation. He actually sounded a little Marxist because he was saying that that was a translation meant to placate the poor. Just, obey, work, do the things you're supposed to do while you're here on earth. And then when you get to heaven, well, you'll get your own mansion then. But at least that's not what this translation says. It says many rooms. I don't know if it's rooms or mansions. I tend to think it's probably rooms. Um, in my father's house, there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come and I will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also. I want to say I talked about this last year, but for for someone who has been um, deprived of home and family, to hear for a prisoner, for a prisoner like Dismas, uh, to hear anyone say, "I love you and I want you to be with me, so I'm gonna go get everything ready, so that when you come, there will be a place prepared for you, that where I am, you may be also." Uh, I think that a lot of times that is read and thought of as, um, "I'm doing this for you, because you need me to do this." And there is something very healing and fulfilling about that, to hear someone say, I'm going to take care of your needs. I will take care of you. But I think that the more important thing is for someone who knows that they don't deserve it. Not just that they don't deserve it, but that they actively have undeserved it. I'm not really sure what the word would be. Um, to have the people that you love say, I want you to be with me, and I am going to get everything ready for you, that where I am, you may be also. There's these two versions of that verse that appear in contemporary Christian music. One of them, I can't remember the name of the band, but it's um, what does it go? It's not very good. Oh, it's a big, big house where we can play football. A big, big table with lots and lots of food. And it's, just God's big house. It's actually theologically not terrible. It kind of reminds me of the Iroquois. Their name was meant the people of the long house, meaning they were all gathered together in one big giant house where the many tribes gathered together and created representative republic in the Americas long before any European ever set foot here. Not for nothing. Anyway, um, but there's another one by Rich Mullins, and it goes, but the chorus goes, that where I am, there you may also be. And it focuses on that thing, not just that there's a big house where we're all going to be together and be a big family, but he's singing as Jesus to us about how he is going to prepare a house with many rooms, big enough for all of us. And I think that that is something, I talk about this from the perspective of the prisoner, but I've thought a lot about this recently as I've seen posts from, there's this guy who does comics. He's called The Naked Pastor. Um, and he and other people are looking at the way that the church addresses anyone that is considered other. Um, for example, I mean, let's go back in time a bit, where I attended a church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, the modern version of the church doesn't have this, but there's the old sanctuary right next door, where in the upstairs in the balcony there was the segregated section, and I know that the people that attended that church, even if they thought the people sitting in that segregated section, especially when it was probably enslaved people, that they did not believe, or if they did believe, did not want them to be in the same part of heaven with them. If they thought that they were human beings at all, they certainly would have thought that they were of a higher class of humanity, and that they would not be there gathered together. And then today, you think about all of the marginalized, all of the others, all of the people that those who say that they are speaking the words of Jesus are doing their dead level best to say, you cannot be part of the body. You cannot be part of who we are. You cannot be part of Jesus. You don't have a room in the house. And I think that it is more important than ever for those of us who have heard this voice, heard this verse and read it and believe it, to make sure that everyone hears that. Jesus, even if I am not conveying this accurately by my actions, by the way, that is the gospel. The best way that the gospel is preached is when we live it and when we act on it. But even when we're not accurately conveying this by our actions, we can at least say, I know I'm not doing this right, but Jesus has gone before us to prepare a house with many rooms, and one of those is for me, and one of those is for you too, because he wants you to be there with him. And I want that too. I want us to be together there in the same house. Please forgive me for when I don't convey that accurately, but please don't let his message is going and preparing a place for you to be diminished by me. And please, hopefully you and I can make that welcome sign, that we can convey Jesus' welcome to everyone. It is potentially a little bit easier for me because I know what it feels like to be grateful to still be wanted, to expect to be rejected because I deserve it, and to feel the grace and the mercy of being wanted and having a place prepared for me anyway. I know that I would be, having had that given to me by not only by Jesus, but by others, by my family and by some friends, I would be judged so harshly if I were to do anything less for anybody else. So for anyone who, all 1.5 of you who watch this, Jesus has gone ahead to prepare a place because he wants you to be there with him. There is a room for you. There is a room for me too. And I am so grateful that he wants me to be there with him, and I want you to be there too. Um, that is it. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I give you my heart, my soul, and my strength. Make me a good man.